Uh, I don't know why exactly until now, but
it's an attribute of a successful entrepreneur usually.
Wow, it's just a pattern right now, but I'll confirm this maybe in a couple of years or three if things work out for me. So I started in East Coast in Morocco. I only spent a year in here. Things really didn't work out for me because it was not what I was expecting. Well, that's a very broad term. It's not really very precise, but so I decided to go to France and to do prep schools, prépa. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but basically you're in a school for 2 years doing a 4 years course, getting ready for grandes écoles, which is basically what you guys call Ivy League schools. So from there I went to HEC Paris. I spent only 2 years in there, and same thing. I actually always found myself more interested in real engineering, building products and stuff, and that was something that studies didn't really give me. It was not complete enough.
Mohammed, can you tell us quickly what Grandizer does? Just in one elevator pitch. 10 words.
Very easy. So our job is to help businesses transition from paper to electronics with a completely integrated platform.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Mr. Azouzi, I know that you're an investment banker with strong experience, strong background. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Diam or
Strong is not that enough. Khalil Azouzi, I'm the managing director of fund, Diam Fund, and Media Network Fund, which is actually two different funds which act and are dedicated to small businesses, especially startups, and we invest on a minority ownership basis. Well, my background went back to 1988 when I started working for the agribusiness sector for 5 years, and then moved to the banking sector when I was in charge of different business units, corporate finance, engineering, and so on. Then made the choice to move to the private equity sector and took over this position as managing director of Diam Fund and Media Network Fund. At the same time, I'm a member of CGM and the managing director of SAM Foundation. This is
thank you.
A few words on background.
Madam Rukesha, it looks like you've been an entrepreneur before, and that's the reason that you're mentors. That you're a mentor today. We're part of a group of mentors, or that's what I understand about CD. I would really appreciate if you could really clarify more what CD philosophy or objectives are.
Okay, so I'm currently the director of SEED Morocco. SEED is the Center for Entrepreneurship and Executive Development. Is the mic working? No?
Microphone.
Is it working now? Yes. Great. So I was saying I am the director of SEED Morocco. SEED is CEED, which is Center for Entrepreneurship and Executive Development. It's an American NGO which is present now in 15 other countries in the world, and Morocco is the 16th country. And we're working on opening the 17th SEED Center in Tunisia very soon. So our mission in SEED is helping entrepreneurs develop their companies or create their own companies via three major activities. The first one is training. We provide them with practical trainings to help them to succeed in their entrepreneurial experience. Second activity is mentoring. We have a very large network of mentors all around the world, and I'm working very, very hard in Morocco to build up a very strong network of mentors in Morocco, and I'm very glad and proud to see that a few of our mentors are present in this room, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank them for the great job they are doing to help our entrepreneurs develop their companies and their capabilities. The third activity is networking, and again, this is one of our major strengths within SEED. Our international network, especially in Europe, Asia, and obviously America. is very large, and we're trying our best to use positively this network and to connect all our members so that they can develop their businesses all over the world.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Mr. Shabi, what can you tell us about, I'm telling you what can you tell us, because I know in Morocco there is not a lot of transparency and you have to choose what to ask for. You're a private company, so...
Yes, we're INA Holding, we're a private company. I'm the executive vice president of INA Holding. Basically, we're the largest private company in Morocco and also the largest private employer. We operate in different areas: supermarkets, hotels, manufacturing, and construction and real estate. We are known to walk the less traveled path, and that's what made us very successful in Morocco, in Tunisia, or in Egypt, or in other countries where nobody believed in. And I think we were fortunate enough to believe in these countries first.
Great, fantastic.
Just before starting the session, obviously there will be time for Q&A, but if you have any burning question, you can use Twitter. We have a feed, hashtag #2013 or hashtag #2013, stands for Moroccan American Bridges. So if you have any question, you can put it on Twitter using hashtag #2013, and we'll ask those questions at the end of the panel. So if any burning question, Twitter is there, use it, and we'll make sure your questions goes to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, there you have it. I think if those people cannot deliver what we're asking for, I don't know who will. So we're really delighted to have these great people with us. And as the slide says, it's really the best time in the world to start a business, to become an entrepreneur. The cost of starting business have gone down substantially. If we go back over the last 12, 13 years, during the dot-com era, if some of you are old enough to remember that, building a business was very difficult. And going back to even older business, think about somebody who's trying to export argan or export any kind of Moroccan products. You have to travel, go to shows, you have to figure out how to benchmark. Now you have the internet, you go on Google, you see who sells, what price, you define very quickly your entry price, and it's amazing. It's not, it's 20% the cost as you see what it was. This is mostly about the web, but it's a very nice projection to other businesses. And it's great to celebrate the fact that we in Morocco are very aware of that and are also trying to embrace that. But also we should not get ahead of ourselves. This is around the world. Entrepreneurship events are all over the place in China or Philippines or Vietnam. Everybody wants to really take advantage of what's going on. Google is offered to everybody. This is news for you. So we have an opportunity, but there's a lot of work to do, and there is a lot of work to really build a business. Next slide. Being an entrepreneur is really awesome. It's really great, and why it's great? Because of those reasons. Sorry, I'm going to read this for you. By building your business, you can change the world, or you can change your own world, and you can come up with a solution to people around you. And as you see, you can build great value for yourself, for your investors, for your customers, and most importantly, it creates jobs. So 66% or 2/3 of the American economy or jobs created in the US is based on entrepreneurial jobs. It's basically people who took risks, tried to start something and went for it and did it successfully. So you will make people's lives better, and eventually you will make your lives better. So the question is, if it's so awesome to become an entrepreneur, why isn't everybody doing it, right? So that's what we're trying to find out. But if you're part of it, thank you. So if you're part of those people who can do it, then it's going to be great for you. It's a lot of hard work. I think entrepreneurship is not just a skill. There is some level of discipline required, but it's also a personality. Mr. Shami talked about the will to fail, or the readiness of accepting failure, the willingness to take the risk. There is a lot of risks. The willingness to get out of your comfort zone, to do things that you didn't do when you worked in a big company, as an example. And maybe Mr. Tahri can really share this with us. But for the sake, as I said, for the sake of this program, we'll focus about startups. Entrepreneurs, all businesses are really great. And for those who are not in technology, by the show of hands, how many people are in the technology field? Fantastic. Great. So at least it looks like we're doing a good targeting. And for those who are not in the tech business, you can relate. There is a lot of good lessons to learn from. Just the difference between the tech startup and others is probably speed.
Okay.
Next slide.
Okay.
So I think for scoping, let's define what is the difference between a regular enterprise and a startup. So basically, the difference of an enterprise and a startup, and I'll like of course, your feedback on this and who you invest in, what kind of business you invest in. The difference is uncertainty. Technology entrepreneurs, those who are in more innovative technologies than sustaining for the sake of not saying imitating technologies, are taking a big risk in trying to make a profitable business in sometimes unknown markets or unpredictable markets. Versus somebody who's just starting a business to export or to sell known products to the market already. And I'll take this opportunity to ask you, Mr. Azouzi, what kind of businesses do you typically look to invest in?
Well, we have set kind of criteria when choosing or selecting projects. Especially the innovative criteria. And I mean, innovative means in the broad sense. It means process, product, packaging, new market, and so on. But as you said, that innovation is quite a challenging process to get in, and which makes things very, very tough and when working on a new business. This is the really tricky thing in the VC. I would say that I prefer talking about opportunity than idea, because everyone has ideas, but the opportunity is quite difficult to assess, to evaluate. Is depending on the market and depending on the capability to unfold your strategy and to compete with huge businesses that are already set and already proven their concept. Startups, well, given our experience, startups are living, or they generally live through a huge and tough process. And here, again, the project holder has to be mentally strong enough to cope with all the difficulties, especially when crossing the death valley. I mean, the 3 or 4 first years when starting a business. And here again, we just what we observed when dealing with Moroccan project holders, they generally fail into coping with this kind of situation. They are quite challenging, because I think that from our early ages we are not, as Mr. Shami said, we are not enough built enough, to mentally to cope with this kind of situations, and we have been more assisted in our early ages than having built enough our self-confidence. And this is one amongst the main observations that I would like to share with you. And here again, we need mentors, we need coaches that could help us to do our job correctly, because we could not afford enough time working close to these project holders, and I will say that managing a startup is time consuming, and the return is not obvious because through the process you could say that more than 80% or 90% of your portfolio could fail, which is for VC quite
80 to 90.
Yeah, 80 to 90.
So that's pretty universal.
Yeah, and we should have to get ready to overturn, I would say, this situation if we had mentors, good mentors or coaches that could work closely with these project holders. I mean, the human assets. This is why I want to focus on this aspect. Because generally,
trust me, I'm going to get there for sure.
Yeah,
I'm going to get
because it's actually we generally overlook this aspect, and the problem which generally faces this kind of ventures is the human aspect. The second one is how to assess or to build a business model. I would say we can't talk about one size fits all.
Okay. We're gonna go to the business model very quick. So I want an answer to my question though. If you can tell the audience here, if there are entrepreneurs, what kind of companies you'd be ready to look at? What kind of industries? You talked about the process. Can you give them an idea? Are you looking at agro industry companies? Are you specifically looking at technology?
We look to every opportunity. Our doors are open, and we spend our time receiving projects and going through the projects.
Okay.
And we try to see if there is any opportunity to get out of this project, the project we receive. We don't reject any project. We are, ready to go through all the projects and to discuss, to challenge people. This is our job, mainly our job. Basically, this is what we do.
So, what do you need, a PowerPoint or a business plan?
We need basically an opportunity assessment, and this is what lacks in general when receiving project from project holders.
Okay. So what we're going to try to do is go through the startup path, and from getting the idea to developing the first solution to it, taking it to market, stabilizing your business for fast growth, and hopefully that will achieve the success we're looking for, and not be engaging our speakers as we move along. Okay. So I don't think there is much to spend here, but I would like to get more the feedback of our panelists. I think I get the wrong sense that there is more imitative technology that we call sustaining technology startups here in Morocco, more than innovating for the rest of the world, unless they're really innovating for the local needs. And by the way, those green dots over there are basically showing, the green dot among those dots are showing at what stage we are of the discussion. The first is getting started, that's the first level, and at the end is going to be hopefully stabilizing your business thanks to the help of especially Mrs. Okash and Mr. Azuzi, who are very involved, closely working with the startups. So you get started, you get an idea, and what kind of idea do you get? How do you come up with this idea? Can you please come back to the other slide? Thanks. Let's start with Mr. Tahi. Can you tell us how this idea of Grenadier came to be?
Well, the idea of Grenadier really came, it was an evolution of a lot of ideas, something that took really several months. It just started with a fascination for documents and the way documents were exchanged. Back in the day, it was really the very early days of Google Docs. And people started with this idea that the document could be put in a central place and actually be available to anyone else. So we started really looking at that, and we started trying to see what are those documents that actually were really exchanged and were forgotten afterwards. And it looks like invoices, which were really the main documents we're interested in, were full of very interesting information that a lot of businesses were completely forgetting about and archiving and just leaving alone. So we started looking at it, what actually stopped people from using electronic invoices. It has all those benefits that everybody knows, but when you look at the numbers, there's like 93% of all documents in the world are not electronic yet. So you really start wondering, so what is not working in there? What's stopping people from using something that, I mean, from our point of view is perfect?
So were you when you were exploring this pain point, and this is very important, you start a business when there is a pain in the market, and the solution is only to a problem, so not to the idea. When you're talking about this problem of digitizing documents, and especially invoices, was it like an international problem? Was it before Intuit came to be, or other like Dropbox and others?
Yeah, that was from probably very, very early startup. No, we never actually had looked at the problem from the Moroccan perspective. It was always a very broad thing, and I mean we were comforted in our vision, in fact, that well, all countries were basically at the same level. I mean, not counting probably Norway or Sweden, all the other countries at the exact same level of concernedness. So it was a global need, but of course we came to understand that there are obstacles which are different depending on countries. And we really learned a lot by actually being in Morocco to understand what stopped Moroccan companies from using that kind of other things. And we find solutions. Actually, there are solutions to help them going there. But of course, it starts always at a pain, but not necessarily localized.
So it was international. Great. Mr. Shabi, you start different businesses at Inna Holdings. How do you decide that this is a business I want to go after? Is it just like an aha moment, or it's a real problem that you identify?
Well, we don't work a lot in technology. We work in very basic businesses. But I want to pinpoint the problem myth, because people say we don't come to invest in Morocco, but there are problems. There are problems everywhere, and it's hard to start a business everywhere. Some countries have done a great job in making the process very easy, but most countries it's very, very hard. What makes the difference is the perception of the return. If there is a high perception of the return, people will come anyway, will stand the pain, will go through the process. In Japan, it takes 10 years to start a business. So this is not necessarily an issue. I think we have to do a better job marketing the country and marketing the success stories. We basically cater to needs, and we start in very basic businesses like supermarkets and all the businesses that are very famous now in emerging markets. So that's mostly what we look for. Technology can help. If you bring in technology in some very traditional business, then you get definitely a cutting edge.
But is it you get inspired by other models outside the country, or it's something? So did you? Let me put it differently. Did you ever start a business or an idea that really didn't come from elsewhere? It was a local need that you said, okay, wow. I think there's a thing.
No, I don't think we've.
Okay, so your strategy is.
I wish we had. No,
okay.
I don't think we've done that. I think we've transposed some models. We had to adapt the models to the local needs, and you have to adapt the model to the local needs. What is that? Okay, you have to adapt the model to the local needs, no matter how inventive or non-inventive the idea is.
Perfect. Okay. I guess I will definitely get back to your idea, to your story. I'm very curious to hear about it. I'm sure the audience does too. So for the sake of helping Mr. Azouzi deal with his for time commitment, we're going to start in business, developing a business. Or in building a business, you have two options. It's either you define your business model, you set it up, you start making money, then you go get more financing, or you get some financing, then you do the business. So Mr. Azuzi has to leave in a few minutes. I would like to tackle the financing part, and we'll come back to this slide if you don't mind. Thank you very much. So I think this is a kind of the heart of the business. Everybody comes to events to find out where to get the money from, right? And Mr. Azuzi can really help us here. He's the guy with the deep pockets. Mr. Azuzi, you mentioned that you go after different businesses, you invest in, you basically what we call industry agnostic, okay? So you're looking for any business where you see profitable J-curve that makes a lot of sense with a reasonable level of risk. So what can you tell the audience about the different options of getting financed? So, or maybe at least tell us about how you do it. There is a friends and family around. People can go sell their assets and start a business. That's the riskiest one. The other one is losing your family relationships by getting the money from them. Or the best idea is probably to go to somebody like Mr. Azuzi. And when you do that, how do you come about evaluating this business and telling the entrepreneur how much are you going to give him and for against what stake? How do you do the evaluation? And maybe if you want to do one stage further, you're talking about human capital and human assets. How do you define that this person, as Mr. Shami was talking about, has that attitude, that willingness to take the risk and to become an entrepreneur? You do that and then you say, okay, I'm going to invest in you, but here is the term. So walk me through the process. Thank you.
Well, I think that once the whole, the project is assessed, we get down to the financial aspect, which is quite a crucial aspect into the life of the project. But once again, this is not enough. Once we build the business model, we go through all the data and the return and so on, and we try to structure the deal in a way to cope with the project holder needs in terms of capital ownership. Means that some project holders are willing to yield more than 60%, all those who are not willing to yield more than 50%. And we try to structure the deal accordingly. And what we try to do is to first to assess the whole amount that the company or the project needs, and then structure the deal in terms of two parts. The first part could be in terms of equity, and the second part is like convertible bonds. And what we try to do is
so that convertible bond is like a convertible note, like
right.
What you call
there is a kicker.
FA.
There is a kicker. We set a kicker, and then we convert our bonds over 4 years or 5 years from the investment. This is how we do.
So it's kind of universal. You start a business, you don't know exactly what the outcome in dollar terms might mean. You don't decide the valuation. You do convertible notes.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna. I will get into technicalities, but those who are fond with or are comfortable with finance will understand easily what we do. We try to use a kind of ratchet system, which is a closed legitimate. Means that if our return could be like